Hi, this is Ryan from my web design show, and basically we have here Carrie Bianco, and you're from ABC Senior Care.
Correct.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
And welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, we're excited. She works in the senior kind of like industry, where you give advice and you place people in their homes.
That's correct.
And we wanted to learn a little bit about you. And tell us how you got started.
I got started when I was a little girl. I was raised by my grandparents and my great aunt and my great uncle. My mom was very young mother, so I went and stayed with them. They raised me until I was about 13 or 14 years, so I was very, very close to them. And now that I think of it, every single one of them had some sort of chronic illness. It was either Parkinson's or congestive heart failure. And my godmother, whom I love so dearly and I lost about 12 years ago, she had Alzheimer's disease. So I just was drawn from my heart ever since I was a little girl in helping these guys feel better about themselves. And I wasn't afraid because it can kind of be scary.
Right.
So I've just grown up with it, and now it's just my love and my passion to help other families.
Well, so it's really personal to you then, how
Absolutely.
you connect with the people that you deal business with.
Yes.
How did you get started in terms of the business you have now?
I got started about a little over 2 years ago, and basically going through the death of my godmother with the Alzheimer's disease and the tragedy of the day in and day out caring for her and all of the mistakes that I made. There were caregivers and they didn't work out, and then I tried to place her in assisted living and they evicted us, and then I went to a board and care, and then she had to go under hospice, and she also needed a secure unit because she was wandering a lot. And all the way, every step, my heart just ached because I felt that I should be caring for her. But I'm not a caregiver. Emotionally, I can be there for the support, but that back and forth with the heart wanting to care for somebody that you love so much, and you're seeing that person decline, and then all of the feelings of mortality, everything all at once. So I had to be in denial for a little while, and then it took me years after she passed before I could recuperate from that. So it's been almost 12 years now.
Wow. And so you really started this out of your experience and eventually, want to provide that service so that your experience won't happen again to the people that you to help with.
Absolutely. When you go through something like that and you're mourning and grieving the loss of a loved one that's been there with you all of your entire life, you don't want to lose them. So this is the best way that I know to keep her very much alive. There's not a day that goes by that I go anywhere or say anything that I don't have her in my heart. And hopefully that's helped a lot of families avoid the mistakes that I made with her care.
Right. And for our viewers out there, whether your mother or your father or your aunt or uncle, I mean, all of us will go through that. That's the inevitable, right?
That's
Death
right.
or taxes.
That's right. That's right.
We need to start, looking at this and say, what's our plan? When they approach you, Carrie, what has been like one of maybe an example of what you've done to one of your clients, and the process of coming to you, and then from them receiving your services, and how did you help them from beginning to start or beginning to end?
Usually it starts with a phone call, and there's usually a very gentle, meek voice on the other end of the phone, and they don't know what to ask me, just that they're in a bad situation and they need some direction. They don't know what to ask except for how much does it cost. So we start there, and I'm just an open book to share my experiences. Every family is unique. Every situation is unique. So not one formula for any set person, but I'll just use an example. Recently, somebody called me. This is an example of the sandwich theory. So meaning the lady that called me, she has 3 children, 12, 15, and 17, married. And she had a nanny that has been with her family for this long period of time, helping her raise the family, the children. At any rate, the nanny had esophageal cancer and had gone through several different surgeries and had a stent placed, and she was under hospice care. And she just wanted to keep her comfortable. So now the family's caring for the nanny. So she called me. She didn't know exactly what to do and what the options were, but we came up with a caregiver that had some extensive RN experience would be best because they were going to be handling medications, keeping her comfortable. So I went in and we did the paperwork, and I found a fabulous caregiver, and every single day she calls, almost every single day now, saying thank you, because all she wanted was for Pearl to be well taken care of. And that's what we do. That's just an example.
Right. I mean, it's very heartwarming. And so you mentioned a caregiver. Your company has a wide variety of people that can give care
Yes.
to your clientele. And obviously you've screened them. Can you talk more about that?
I have somebody in my office that takes care of all the communications with the caregiver. She's a staffing coordinator, so we will run an ad, and sometimes specific, sometimes more general, and we bring the person into the office, and then we do a one-on-one interview with them. They have to go through an extensive background check that includes a Social Security trace, a DMV, Department Motor Vehicles trace, and misdemeanor, felony, criminal, in-state, and national. I'm trying to remember all the little things. And then we also have to check 2 professional references and some ongoing training that goes on with that, with each caregiver, based on their certification. So sometimes they're certified nurses assistants, sometimes home health aides, sometimes vocational nurses, licensed nurses. It just depends. So once they're screened properly, then we try to find out from the client what's most important, not just from a clinical aspect, but also what they like, what they love, what they're passionate about, what did they used to do in their lifetime. So there's some sort of emotional connection as well.
Some sort of bond. And sometimes it's cultural, right?
Absolutely. I have people that will say, I need somebody to be able to speak a certain language. This was one of my cases when I first started. She had Alzheimer's disease, and she was originally from Quebec, and her native language was French.
Right.
Well, as the disease started to progress, she'd been in the United States for a long, long while. She spoke English in the morning, but as the day wore on, and sundown, which is a different term for Alzheimer's disease, a condition, she went back into her native language of French. So I needed a caregiver that could speak English and also French.
Oh my gosh. So it puts out, if I was a client, that whole headache of trying to search and, trying to find a match. That's where I would go.
Absolutely.
And I know one of your businesses also placing your clients, your customers into homes, right? Can you expand on that?
There are times we all want to stay at home for as long as possible. Even me right now, I wouldn't want to move anywhere. Home is home. So that is our first priority, is to stay home. And many families, that's what they want for their loved one, and their loved one wants it. But there are times that that's not the best, safest environment for them. Sometimes they lack socialization at home. Sometimes, medically speaking, it's not healthy for them to be at home. So we want to evaluate all of that. And in the event that home is not the best situation for everyone involved, then there are assisted living communities, there are board and care, residential care communities, and then skilled nursing facilities. So based on their level of care, I would assist the family in determining what's going to be best. And similar to a real estate agent, I take them to 2 or 3 locations and introduce them to the administrator. And this is completely free. There's no obligation. I can be a true consultant to the family.
Right. So you really get into the families, getting to know them, and your number one priority is for them.
Absolutely. And there are times when we start out at home, because many of these chronic illnesses that face our older adults, 80 to 100 years of age, it's progressive. So you might start out in the home, but in 5 years, 6 years, or whatever the length of time, you might need another alternative. So I'm there to provide that information for you.
Right. Wow. And obviously, you love what you do, and what keeps you going? These are obviously very challenging, emotional decisions, right, for your clientele. What really keeps you going, and what drives you?
When you go to see somebody and they wrap their arms around your neck and say, thank you for taking care of my loved one, that is well worth it to me. That's all I need. That keeps me going.
Great. Well, Carrie, thank you for sharing your story. I'm sure you have so many other things that you can share to your clientele. So hopefully we can get you back here and talk more about, maybe, I'm sure, specific issues out there that people want answers from. and I'm sure you would be a great resource here in the South Bay area for them.
It would be an honor to come back, and thank you for having me.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.